I am back, and I have more anger.
Last time I made this was around 2 years ago. Oh god, it's been 2 years already. And I did mention that I wanted to come back to this topic. And technically, I did. I just made it into its own separate videos, like gambling and AI slop.
And honestly, I miss this kind of compilations, despite it being negative. So, today, let's talk about 5 more gaming pet peeves that I have. Starting with this obnoxious one.
Now, yes, there are always gonna be games that are better than other games. Heck, I do a yearly weirdo award to tell you what is my game of the year. But that's where the keyword comes. My. There's a reason why I put this topic in quotation. The problem isn't if the game isn't good or not. The problem is people telling that game A sucks and game B is better. Let me give you an example. There was time where I was playing Fortnite, just for recording's sake to see if I wanted to talk about it or not. Usually I'm in a voice call and screen sharing if anyone wanted to watch, which some did. Then Kevin joined the call and asked how everyone else was doing. We just said stuff and I just mentioned I was playing Fortnite. On cue, Kevin just said, "Fortnite sucks. The current game I'm playing is better." Twice!
I'm keeping this anonymous for obvious reasons, but for the person who knows who I'm talking about, grow up!
Look, I don't like Fortnite, especially nowadays with endorsing AI slop and whatever egg-baked games are doing. But even if I did, why did you have to say your game is better even if hypothetically it is? And yes, there are exceptions when you ask if I like games and I like another games with more similar genre, or if you're making reviews and comparing A to B, example Hollow Knight and Silksong, etc, etc. But I think you and I both know that's not the main issue here. The main issue is people belittling others for playing a game. Too many times I have seen or heard people comparing just to belittle others, and that is just stupid. This is also why, 1, I make sure that people understand that this is my opinion and not overall, and 2, never sundown who wants to play games I didn't personally like.
And not to stroke my own ego, but I personally think I'm doing a good job on that department. For example, there has been games that I really like that others didn't. For example, Hatsune Miku Logic Paint S Plus DLC. Whereas in other cases, this has been vice versa as well. Metal Gear Revengeance gameplay I personally did not like, but others did.
And the only reason I criticize is because I want to be fully transparent what I like and didn't like and have you decide if this is the game for you. And I hope I'm doing a good job on that department as well. But besides that, let people play what they want. If it's a bad game, yeah, that sucks. But you cannot force someone to play what you want them to play. And comments like, "Game B is better than Game A," well, that's low-key manipulating. And it just discourages people trying new games and expanding their love. Yes, some may be only playing Call of Duty or Fortnite, but instead of belittling said gamers, recommend to play something else. Heck, maybe online multiplayer or co-op or something. And if they don't like it or do it, whatever, it's their choice. If they are missing good games, sucks to be them.
Okay, the last comment might be a bit manipulating, but you get the idea. Let people play games that they want to play. Yes, you can recommend games that you want them to experience or you might think they like or etc, etc. But never belittle them for playing games they like, even if the games are bad. Speaking of bad, I don't think I need to go along with this one. So, if you hate Scalpers, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're one of them, go yourself, you useless piece of. This is a PG channel. That's much how much I hate you, you oxygen waster.
When people mention fan service, they usually tend to mean how that character or characters portrayed in a way, risque way, whether by clothes or by their accents or by both. But fan service doesn't always need to be that. For example, in Phoenix Wright Duel Destiny, Phoenix returning to be a lawyer was a fan service because, well, there's no plan to do that and it was gonna be Apollo Justice Saga. But because fans desperately wanted him back, they did get him. Which, honestly, I'm not too keen on that because I wanted Apollo to have his own spotlight like they intended, but that's beside the point.
Even so, there is one more fan service in Duel Destiny. In the DLC case, slight spoiler, Miles Edgeworth comes back as the prosecutor for that case. And if you do not agree with the first one being fan service, this definitely 100% is a fan service.
Now, this isn't to say fan service is bad and horrible. It can be done right and even tasteful in right situation. But when it's not, it's really not. A great example of this is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I already made a video about it, so I won't go too much into details. But this game has a massive problem with female characters being sexualized for no reason.
There is 3 problems with this. 1, the franchise is never supposed to have sexualized. Take Xenoblade Chronicles 1. All the characters, they have their own charms and attractiveness, but they were never sexualized in ways like in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So when 2 did it, it just felt wrong for the franchise. And 2, even if you do not agree with me here, only female characters were sexualized. There was no male characters, or none that I know of, that was sexualized for the fan service case. Now, we know why, male majority marketing, the whole thing, yada yada yada. But even if you like fan service, come on, this is just hypocritical.
And 3, well, characters that wasn't sexualized was done pretty well. Take Ursula and Adenine, for example. Their design is pretty cool, pun intended. And I love their design so much. Heck, Blizzard is a fantastic example for being fan service while still being amazing. That elegant, mature design fits her personality and shows why she is the boss. So when we see characters like this in with Talia and Zenobia, it just saddens me.
Look, I like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 over 1. Again, watch this video to understand why. But the fan service, the fan service depleted a lot of points for me. And I know a lot of people who prefer 1 over 2 solely because of how awful fan service was in 2. And honestly, I can't blame them.
I am just glad they made Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a lot better and made characters amazing in their own rights and honestly matched their charm, both male and female.
But of course, fan service is not only clothes, or lack of it. There's also guest characters appearing in games. I already mentioned about Miles Edgeworth, but there's also things like Cristiano Ronaldo in Fate of Fury or Lucy for Guilty Gear Strive. Yes, I know they both are fighting games, but that's only in my top of my head. Anyways, fan service needs to be done well, because if not, it can divide people's opinion, not for the game itself, but for the whole franchise. And that could be a problem. But if you do have fan service in the game, the opposite can also be a problem.
When people talk about censorship, they tend to talk about, for lack of better words, censoring cell words with beep and a black bar.
Like, for example, how I call the Scalpers a piece of The fact that some of you oxygen wasters are still watching doesn't understand how audience retention works, do you? No surprise how tiny your brains are.
But there's actually more types of censorship to be aware of. In this case, let's talk about fan service censorship and cultural censorship. Fan service censorship is just that, game being censored because they're usually of region differences, example JP versus US, which I am not sure how to feel about. Here, let me give you an example. Bravely Default. In Bravely Default, there are some clothes, especially for female side. I know, that was pretty much risque, but that was only in JP version. In international region, some of the sexualized clothes was replaced with, well, less sexualized clothes. And, well, I am okay with it. Like, yes, censorship is bad, yada yada yada, but Bravely Default never felt like a game that needed that in the first place, at least from how far I have played. Listen, I'm still playing the game. I already have too many games into my plate, and more coming soon, and my wallet is not happy with me. But at the same time, I kinda understand why censorship sucks. Imagine working on a design that you put effort into, only to be modified because some of the people are too sensitive about it. Nowadays, at least from what I know, the region censorship is rarely a thing. Heck, I am surprised Bravely Default Fairy HD was the censorship update. But at the end of the day, I am not too peeved about it.
Yes, one can argue that censorship is a blockage of freedom, and my opinion could be the minority, could be wrong, and or both. But at the end of the day, I'm here to enjoy playing games, and censorship like that doesn't really affect me as much. Culture censorship does, however.
This is a stretch, but bear with me here. Union Syndrome Rhythm Psychosis, say that 5 times fast, is a rhythm game about a shut-in girl being hypnotized by anime girl while playing a rhythm game. No, seriously.
Trust me, it's a banger. Trust me, it's a banger.
The thing is, every time you input notes, she's writing a controversial post, or in this case, being very, very obsessed with that said anime girl. And this is where the problem lies. See, Dragon Baby, the English localization for this game, is notoriously bad for translating games. I highly recommend watching this video to get a good idea what I'm talking about after this video, of course. But essentially, they pretty much translating internet slangs and terms that used in old anime days and replaced with, well, generic Gen Z slangs. This is one of many examples of cultural censorship. Even if Dragon Baby did not want to, they still participate on censoring cultural drive this game have. I mean, it's very clear that she is a certain girl who is very heavily involved in anime and anime culture, aka a NEET. Heck, one can argue that I was censoring the word NEET by calling her a certain, but that's a stretch even for me, plus calling her certain was more a layman's term that censorship. I digress.
The point is we need to be careful what we want to show and what we don't want to show, because at the end of the day, censorship is like a tool, and that tool can be useful to keep things PG, to keep our sanity, and so on and so forth. And that is a very positive thing. But at the same time, when a tool can be used for positive, for good, it can definitely be used for the worse. And censorship is no exception to that. And I honestly haven't even talked about things like propaganda and creative sides like voice acting, but for the sake of video and time, I'm gonna have to call it here. But if you want me to talk more about this, please let me know. But speaking of tools and for the good and for the worse, there is a certain market in this whole gaming community that I absolutely hate.
RGB products are annoying. I am sorry, I am so sick and tired of every single gaming product being RGB. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit with this one, but I am just sick and tired of gaming products being more expensive because it has RGB. Woo!
And it's not only RGB products. You can take any product and slap gaming onto it and boom, more expensive. Like take this gaming chair for example. Yes, it looks good. Yes, it looks cool and it looks appealing and nice to look at when it's in these kind of videos. But it's not the greatest for your back, for things, and there are better chairs out there. With that said, this chair is pretty good if you wanna, lean like this while you're watching YouTube videos and not break them. I might have broken 2 chairs before buying this one because I was leaning back. Oops.
Gaming products just makes me worry to buy because they aren't what it seems at first. It might just be cheaper and or better to buy normal version over gaming. Or if there isn't one, well, there are better options than, say, gaming chairs or gaming table. And the worst part with the whole RGB gaming setup is that it's not even universal, but branding specific. Like having Corsair and Logitech RGBs just doesn't coexist unless you have a software like Signal RGB, which personally I cannot recommend getting into because I once tried and my whole PC was having blue screen hiccups every hour or so, to the point I had to uninstall the software and the files completely to fix the said problems. And even then, I don't want RGB for everything. Like, I actually wanted my PC to be RGB free as much as possible, but that is not possible to build, at least in Nepal. So I was stuck with RGB shenanigans that cost more than if I just wanted a blank version. But oh well, more money for the company. I just hate that we are stuck with a transparent glass with a fancy RGB setup and not anything else that could be looking more personal unless we go on a custom made or ordered. But then that would be more expensive and or time consuming. I just wish we had more availability when it comes to pre-made stuff.
Look, I'm gonna be blunt. If I'm ever gonna buy more RGB products, I'm probably gonna stick with Corsair. Not because they're the best gaming products out there, but because most of the things I want is in Corsair. For example, the gaming MMO mouse that I usually use to play games like Final Fantasy XIV and or have a better macros when I'm editing these kind of videos thanks to the software iCube, which is very easy to set up, at least in my opinion. Plus, there's things like these raining RAM. Well, if I click it with my mouse, for example, it can have these light effects and everything. Hopefully you can see it in the recording. And I want to get better products too. My keyboard doesn't have that much setup, but I want to buy a better keyboard like K100. But that costs a lot of money and it isn't in my priority list as of right now. Corsair, please sponsor me.
So yes, I do like RGB when it comes to creative outcomes or making my setups personal. I have a lot of things I want to mess around with, yada yada yada. But at the same time, I wish I had an option to buy non-RGB options, or if RGB options were universal and, well, doesn't break my computer into progress. Maybe I'm giving a hard time to Signal RGBs and other softwares like that, but I don't want to mess with things that could break my computer. Again.
And gaming products can be expensive. Some are straight up scam. I think I can say this safely for everyone. When we are making our setup, we don't want to gamify everything. No, when we are making our setup, we want it to be us, to portray our personality and to show how we want to be portrayed. But when you have limited choice like transparent glass with RGB, especially when you're stuck in countries like Nepal, that generally sucks. So unless you can custom made or order, which will cost you more money, well, you're stuck with a limited market. And that's annoying. But even if marketing isn't limited, region locking can still be bothersome.
I have to say this before anything else. I like Steam. I think Steam is one, if not the best company to have nowadays. And with great products that is for consumers first, it is very clear why everyone else loves them as well. But there are still things I don't like. Specifically 2 things, and one I am annoyed, but honestly I am okay with this as well. Actually, let's start with that. Steam Family Sharing. Steam Family Sharing is essentially sharing games with your family. So if someone has Guilty Gear Strive and lives in the same household, the other members don't need to log in into their account or buy another copy constantly. They can just be together in a family group and share the entire library, with some exceptions like games being family sharing locked or hidden games so that other parties don't see what you are playing. This was, at the end of the day, a very good thing. Too good. See, you don't need to be family to share games. You could just be, I don't know, friends from America, Europe, and Asia being in a family share and share games with one another because reasons. Not talking from experience, of course. Of course, there were still limitations with this. Since technically you are sharing one copy of said game, only one user can play the game, with the priority being the one who bought the game. But at the end of the day, this is still a net positive, to the point Steam had to do something about this. Region locking. Yeah, Steam had to force region locking so that you can only family share with one another who are friends within the same region. Which, yeah, it sucks with someone who lives in Nepal more than someone, say, lives in USA. But at the end of the day, I am not too mad about it. Yes, it sucks, but whatever. What I am mad about, it's changing the freaking region!
Okay, this is more of a Nepal thing than a Steam thing, but I still want to rant about this. So, in order for you to be eligible for Steam region change, you need to reach two conditions. Number one, you need to make sure that you have not changed your region in the last 90 days, which honestly makes sense. And number two, you need to purchase a game in that new region using that new region's credit or debit card.
Now, Nepal, being as genius as they are, had this funny transaction law. Just to make things easier to understand, international can send money to Nepal, but Nepal cannot send money to international. So I cannot buy stuff from Amazon or support people via Patreon because I will need to do international transaction from Nepal, which is impossible.
Now, to be fully transparent, there is a way to get an international card here in Nepal. The thing is, it's only one per person, not per bank, per person. And you can only have 500 USD per year. Now, I'm not a financial advisor or anything, but $500 is absolutely ridiculous to spend in 1 year now, isn't it? But I still got an international card, got ready to change my region in Nepal, and Steam did not accept my debit card.
So I need to contact Steam describing my problems, and they just say to use a card that they won't accept. And now I'm stuck with a Steam account that isn't from Nepal's region. And this is a problem because I am technically breaking Steam TOS, specifically buying games that is not from my region. So my account is in thin ice every day because of this BS. Ugh.
And you know what the worst part is? Steam has let me change my region without the whole credit card debacle. When I had to change my region from Denmark to Nepal, I just contacted customer support and they did it for me. 100% ease. Obviously, I had to provide evidence to prove that I'm changing my region, etc., but they still did it when I did it. But now I have to go to this whole credit card debacle that Nepal Bank won't even do it. And before you ask, I have tried it with others' card as well, and it just doesn't work. And I don't know who to blame. I don't know if I have to blame Nepal, to Steam, to something, but this is very annoying. But it's an annoyance for very specific people, because who else can relate to me when I say I have moved from one country to another and now I can't change my country because my country does not allow international transaction. But I'm still not done, because while this is a very specific annoyance to me, very specific people, there's one other reason lock that many can actually relate to. Theme gifting.
There are times where you want to gift games to people, whether it's their birthday, special events, or want to send bad rats to everyone because they think this guy game is very good.
This is a call out to my buddy Tremix Blazer. How dare you send me bad rats? And thank you for sending me bad rats.
But some people took advantage of that and bought games from region with lower price, gifted in their main account and saved money. And unfortunately, Steam had to do something about this as well. See, because of the whole region lock, you can only gift games to someone if the game prices aren't over 10% from each other. So, if a game costs 10 USD in your region and you want to give someone in USA which costs 15 USD in their region, well, now you can't because the price difference is more than 10%. In this case, around 33%. And this gets annoying because I wanna gift games to my friends, but I can't because region pricing is so different that I cannot gift games that doesn't have similar pricing. I just wish that I could just pay their region pricing or pay the highest price between us two and call it a day. Because I don't mind paying extra if my friends can enjoy games that I do. I did send Steam this feedback and asked if this can even be implemented because, hey, I could be absolutely wrong with this theory and this could basically backfire immensely. But as of right now, I have no response that was given to me.
But yeah, at the end of the day, Steam is still the best gaming platform, at least in my opinion. And it just shows that even good things can have gaming pet peeves. And bad things definitely can have a lot more. But for now, these are some of the pet peeves I wanted to talk about. If there's some other gaming pet peeves you want me to talk about or you think I missed of any, please let me know. And as the final pet peeves for you guys, and I apologize, like, comment, and subscribe.